All right, we're reviewing chapters 7 and 8 from the workbook. So basically, angle properties, triangle, right triangle properties, trig. These concepts will be on your second exam. Remember, your final exam is split into two parts. So this will be on the second day. So let's take a look at the diagram. We've got two parallel lines. Doesn't specify there, but they are parallel. Really, we should have had an extra set of arrows there. So those are parallel lines. This is the transversal, and we want to come up with some angle measures. So it says if angle 1 measures 115, then what does angle 4 measure? So remember, these are opposite angles. So when you crisscross two lines, basically, the opposite angles are equal. So this is going to be 115 degrees. Angle 6, if that measures 65, what does angle 2 measure? So this angle here and this one up here, that we call corresponding angles, okay, because they're both above each parallel line on the same side of the transversal, so they are equal. So that means this will be 65. Name a pair of alternate interior angles. So interior means between the parallel lines. Alternate means on alternate sides of the transversal. So that would be 3 and 6, or we could say 4 and 5. All right, next one, supplementary angles. What do they add to? They add to 180 degrees. You got to memorize it. So complementary, they add to 90 degrees. Supplementary, add to 180. So think about it. C comes before S in the alphabet. 90 is smaller than 180. It says determine the measure of each side x. So that's Pythagorean theorem. So this is the hypotenuse. So x squared equals 8 squared plus 12 squared. So we can do part of it in our head. It's going to be 208. But if you need your calculator, get it out. 8 squared plus 12 squared is 208, and then square root that. And so x is 14.4. All right, so x is the hypotenuse. It has to be longer than 12 and longer than 8. It would have to be less than the sum of 8 and 12. Okay. Next one, we're looking for a leg. So now we take the hypotenuse squared and subtract the other leg squared. So this one, 22 squared is 484. So 484 minus 100 is 384. So x is the root of 384. So minus 100, and then square root. That answer is 19.6 centimeters. Okay. Next one, how many of the above triangles are right triangles? So we've done questions like this before. You want to check with your Pythagorean theorem. So you want to check, is 15 squared plus 20 squared, is it the same as 25 squared? Okay, so 15 squared plus 20 squared, 625. Well, you might already know that 25 squared is 625. Okay, so that works. Then 3 squared plus 4 squared, well, that's 9 plus 16, which is 25. 5 squared is 25, so that one works. 4.5 squared plus 6 squared, we want to compare that. So 4.5 squared plus 6 squared, and then 7 squared should know is 49, so no. So 2 of them. Okay. Value of cos of 62. So now we're getting into trig. You want to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. So if you've got a graphing calculator, go down and make sure degree is selected. If you have a scientific, make sure the screen somewhere has a D or a DEG. So cos of 62. So if your calculator shows the word cos, then you punch it in first and then 62. And this says round to 2 decimal places, 0.47. Okay, if your calculator does not show this when you press the cos key, then you have to put 62 and then press cos. Okay, now if we're given the ratio for a trig function, so in this example, sine of the angle x is 10 over 17. Remember, to get the angle, we have to press the second key. It's the inverse. So in our calculator, again, kind of depends on what kind of calculator, but if you have one that shows sine when you press it or cosine when you press it, then we do second sine and then 10 divided by 17. Don't do 10 divided by 17. Let the calculator do it. Okay, and that's going to be 36 degrees to the nearest whole degree. If you don't have that symbol showing up, sine showing up, then you go 10 divided by 17 in your calculator. Then you press the second key and then sine key on that, and it will calculate it for you. In my case, I have to enter it in there. Okay? If you get something other than 36, then you're likely check your calculator's probably not in degree mode. Okay, measure of x in each of these. So want to label your triangle sides. So this is your hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90. Side opposite 35 is x. Side adjacent 35 is 11. So we want to use opposite, find the opposite, and we know the adjacent. That's tan. So if you want to, fast way of remembering. You will get it on the exam though. So tan of 35 is opposite over adjacent. So x, when we solve here, we have to multiply through by 11. Is 11 times tan of 35 degrees. So in your calculator, 11 tan of 35 is 7.7. There are no units, so we don't have to put units. Next one, label the sides. So this is the hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90 degrees. This is opposite the angle given. This would be adjacent. Okay, we want to know the opposite and we're given the hypotenuse, so that's going to be sine. So sine of 40 degrees is x over 16. To get x by itself, we multiply. Okay, so 16 sine 40, 10.3. And that is centimeters. Okay. Next one, we want to find an angle. What are our sides? This would be the hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90 degrees. This is touching that angle, so that's adjacent. And this would be opposite. But we are given the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So that is cosine. So cosine of x is adjacent over hypotenuse. So when we're calculating this, we have to use our second key. So it's cos inverse of 8 over 12. So in our calculator, we go second cos, that gets that inverse. 8 divided by 12 is 48.2 degrees. Okay. And again, it's got to kind of make some reasonable sense. If you're not in degree mode, it would be likely a decimal, like a decimal less than 1. Okay, next one, we've got this angle. This is your hypotenuse. It's opposite the 90. This is adjacent. It's touching the 76, and this would be opposite. But we're trying to find the hypotenuse, and we're given the adjacent. So that's cosine. So cosine of 76 is adjacent over hypotenuse. Notice how the unknown is in the denominator. Remember, when it's in the denominator, we have to divide. Denominator, divide. Okay, and we always divide by the cosine or the trig ratio. We always multiply by the trig ratio. Here we divide. So calculator 10 divided by cos of 76 is 41.3. And that is centimeters. Okay. And I just got a little dot there. Oh, 41.3. Okay. So it is longer than 10. So that makes sense. Next one, we're looking for an angle. This is the hypotenuse. This is the opposite. So that's sine. So sine of x is 20 over 32. And so we're looking for an angle. That means we're pressing the inverse key. So second sine 20 divided by 32 is 38.7 degrees. And the last one here, compared to this angle, this is your hypotenuse, and this is your opposite. So that is going to be sine again, but sine, we know the angle is 8.3 over x. And again, our unknown's in the denominator, so we have to divide. So 8.3 divided by sine of 36 is 14.1 centimeters. Okay, and that's it.